Captain Elias Kane stood at the edge of the landing platform, the roar of the alien atmosphere filling his ears. The planet Zareth 9 was known throughout the galaxy for its dangerous wildlife, treacherous terrain, and ruthless alien factions. For a human to set foot here alone was almost unheard of. Yet Elias had a mission, and he was not the type to shy away from danger. He adjusted the straps of his armor, the standard human combat gear, designed for durability and mobility. Compared to the sleek, biomechanical armor of the Zarethi, it looked simple, even primitive. Elias didn't care. He trusted skill, strategy, and human adaptability more than any shiny gadget. From above, a shadow swept across the platform. Elias looked up to see her. Lady Vryn. She descended with an elegance that seemed almost unnatural, her long limbs and sharp features accentuated by her glittering alien armor. Her skin shimmered with a faint blue hue under Zareth 9's twin suns, and her eyes burned with pride and arrogance. When she landed in front of him, she let out a soft, condescending laugh. "A human," she said, her voice musical but cutting. "You are far from home. Do you know what you are doing here?" Elias smiled slightly, his calm gaze meeting hers. "I know exactly what I am doing," he replied. His voice carried quiet confidence, not arrogance, just certainty. Vryn tilted her head, her laughter echoing through the platform. "You think that little armor, that small frame, can match the strength of a Zarethi warrior?" she asked. "Do you even know who I am?" "I do," Elias said. Her laughter grew louder, more mocking. "Titles? Strength? Strategy? You humans have none of these. You survive by luck at best." She gestured toward the arena beyond the platform. "You will prove yourself there, or you will be laughed at, and worse, forgotten." Elias simply nodded, stepping forward. The calm in his movements contrasted with the energy around him. Unlike the alien warriors, who thrived on displays of strength and intimidation, Elias seemed unshaken. Vryn's eyes narrowed. No human had ever faced her with such composure. She had expected fear, maybe desperation, but not this quiet confidence. It irritated her. She had always believed humans were weak, unpredictable, and inferior. And yet, here was one standing before her, unshaken, watching her carefully. "Very well," Vryn said finally. "You will enter the trial of valor. If you survive, you may leave this platform alive. Fail, and..." She let her words trail off, letting the implication hang in the air. Elias's expression did not change. Understood. The trial of valor was infamous across the star system. It was an arena designed not just for combat, but to test strategy, endurance, and wit. And it was no place for the unprepared. Ancient alien mechanisms, shifting walls, hidden traps, and predatory creatures made it lethal. Yet humans had a way of surviving where others would fall through ingenuity, adaptability, and perseverance. As the gates of the arena opened, Elias stepped inside. Vryn followed. Her curiosity piqued. This human moved with a purpose that intrigued her. He was small, yes, but his presence carried weight. She could sense something in him that defied her expectations. The arena was massive, circular, with walls lined in dark stone that seemed alive with ancient markings. Large alien creatures patrolled sections of the ground, and traps hidden beneath the sand shifted every few minutes. Vryn moved gracefully, her steps calculated, her every movement radiating power. Elias watched quietly, noting her patterns. "Do you know what you face?" Vryn asked, her tone less mocking now, tinged with curiosity. "I know enough to survive," Elias replied, "and to adapt." Her lips curved slightly. "Humans are stubborn," she said. She had seen the arrogance of many species, but humans were different. They did not rely solely on brute force. They observed, calculated, and acted when the moment was right. The first challenge came immediately. A massive creature, its body covered in jagged scales and 6 legs ending in sharp claws, charged at Elias. Vreen raised her weapon, expecting the human to panic or attack recklessly. Elias didn't move as she expected. Instead, he observed the creature's movement, noticing its rhythm and pattern. When the moment came, he sidestepped with perfect timing and triggered a trap that sent a net over the beast, immobilizing it. The creature roared in frustration, thrashing violently, but trapped. Vryn's eyes widened. No human had ever moved with such precision. She had expected fear, weakness, or brute force, but not this calm, calculated approach. Impressive, she said, though her tone did not reveal admiration. Beginner's luck, perhaps? Elias shook his head. No luck. Observation and timing. The next challenge tested more than strength. A series of shifting walls closed in from both sides, and pressure plates threatened to crush the unwary. Many alien warriors had failed before, injured by their own overconfidence. Vryn raised her weapon, expecting Elias to panic or retreat. Instead, he moved forward, noticing the subtle differences in the plate's markings. Using his knowledge of physics and human ingenuity, he triggered some plates in the correct sequence, allowing him to pass safely. Vryn froze for a moment, her arrogance shaken. This human was not just surviving. He was navigating a complex trial with skill and clarity. He was different from anything she had seen. You see, Elias said quietly, strength is not always the answer. Vryn's lips tightened. The statement irritated her more than it should have. She had believed in power above all else. That intimidation and skill alone determined survival. Yet here was a human. Small, seemingly fragile, proving her assumptions wrong. The final trial approached, a duel, 1-on-1. The arena shifted, and Vryn found herself facing Elias directly. She expected him to cower or attack recklessly. But he stood firm, his eyes calm, unafraid. For the first time, Vryn laughed softly, almost involuntarily. You are brave, human, she said, circling him. Or foolish. Perhaps both, Elias replied calmly, matching her pace. She lunged, a strike aimed to test his defenses. Elias blocked. Not with strength, but with timing and anticipation, redirecting her energy rather than opposing it directly. Each move he made was precise, deliberate, showing an understanding of the duel that went beyond mere reaction. Vryn felt a strange tension. Her ego, built on centuries of victories and dominance, resisted the idea that a human could match her. And yet, with each movement, Elias proved that humans had qualities she had never considered. Adaptability, patience, and an uncanny sense of timing. The duel ended with Vryn stepping back, breathing lightly, her pride slightly bruised. Elias remained calm, his expression unchanged. You are different, Vryn said finally, her voice almost a whisper. I have never seen a human like you. Elias nodded. And you have never faced one who does not fear you. For a long moment, silence filled the arena. Vryn's laughter, once sharp and mocking, faded into something new. Curiosity, respect, and the first hint of realization that humans were not to be underestimated. As the gates of the arena closed, Elias walked out with steady steps, unshaken, unbowed. Vryn followed, frozen in thought. The egoistic alien woman who had laughed at the human warrior now faced a truth she had not expected. Humans were more than they seemed, and this one, in particular, had shown her a strength she could not ignore. For Elias Kane, it was only the beginning. The planet was still dangerous, and the alien factions were far from defeated. But for the first time, the egoistic alien woman had met a human who could match her mind, her skill, and her courage. And that meeting would change everything. The twin suns of Zareth 9 hung low in the sky, casting long shadows over the jagged landscape. Captain Elias Kane walked alongside Lady Vryn, who, despite her earlier pride, seemed quieter than usual. Her thoughts swirled with confusion. Humans were not supposed to be clever, adaptable, or unafraid, but Elias had proven otherwise. They arrived at the next trial area, the labyrinth of fire and stone. It was an enormous field of shifting rocks, molten rivers, and jagged cliffs. Only those who understood the terrain, predicted the dangers, and kept their calm could survive. Vryn's entourage of alien warriors watched eagerly. They expected the human to struggle, maybe even perish. Elias, however, moved as if he belonged, his steps careful, measured, observing every detail. "Do you really think you can handle this?" Vryn asked, a trace of skepticism in her voice. "I don't think," Elias replied calmly. "I know. Humans survive by adapting. And that is what I intend to do." Vryn blinked, momentarily taken aback. Few beings spoke with such certainty here. Most were overconfident, relying on power and aggression. Elias relied on his mind, and that was something she could not yet control. The first challenge appeared suddenly. A series of molten rivers separated by narrow stone bridges, thin and unstable. Any misstep would plunge a warrior into the lava below. Vryn's warriors leapt across confidently, their advanced alien abilities letting them bound across the gaps. Elias paused, observing the vibrations of the stone and the heat patterns in the molten rivers. He tested a small hop first, sensing the stability of the bridge. Then, carefully, he timed his jumps with precision. One step, another, then a calculated sprint across a particularly unstable section. The crowd gasped as the thin stone bent under the weight. But Elias never faltered. Vryn's eyes narrowed. A human survives by observation, not strength. Clever, but fragile. Elias did not respond. He moved forward, unbothered by her words. The next obstacle was a series of rock towers that shifted and rotated without warning. Alien warriors relied on their reflexes and natural agility to traverse them. Elias, however, paused at the base of the first tower, studying its motion. He noticed a pattern, the rhythm of rotation, and the weak points in the stone. Then, like a dancer, he climbed, jumping from rock to rock, not faster but smarter, using each momentum to his advantage. One miscalculation could have sent him tumbling, but he adjusted instinctively. Vryn followed, attempting to match his pace. But she realized something strange. Elias did not fear her presence or the danger. His confidence unsettled her. Every step he took, calculated but calm, made her question the arrogance she had always carried. By the time he reached the top, he was unscathed. Vryn's warriors looked at him in disbelief. She, however, looked at him with something more complicated. Curiosity. He was human, yes, but not just a human. He was remarkable. Not bad, she admitted, almost grudgingly. But the labyrinth is not just physical. It tests your mind. Elias's eyes lit up. The final challenge was a puzzle built into the very rocks, alien runes that activated traps if read incorrectly. Many had tried to solve them and failed, triggering hidden spikes, walls, or molten flows. Elias approached carefully, studying the patterns. He noticed the subtle differences between the markings, the spacing, and the shapes. They were like a language, but also like a rhythm. Using a combination of logic and intuition, he pressed certain symbols in sequence. A trap activated, but he anticipated it, jumping aside with ease. Another set activated, and again, he adjusted. Vryn watched closely, her earlier arrogance replaced by a strange fascination. She had underestimated humans in ways she had never imagined, and Elias had not even used weapons yet. He relied entirely on his mind. Observation, and courage. As he completed the puzzle, a loud chime echoed through the labyrinth. The gates opened, signaling the trial's end. Vryn approached him, her face unreadable. "You survived," she said quietly, almost reluctantly. "Humans, they are more than I thought." Elias gave a small smile. "And you are stronger than I thought, too. But strength alone is not everything. If you won, just Ox." Her eyes narrowed. No alien had ever spoken to her like this. Not with respect, not with calmness, not with such certainty. And yet, she felt a strange pull, a mix of irritation and admiration. Suddenly, alarms blared across the labyrinth. A massive predator, the shadow raptor, emerged from the molten fissures. Its black scales absorbed the light, making it almost invisible, and its claws dripped with acidic venom. Vryn instinctively readied her weapon, expecting to strike Elias down with one swift blow before he could react. Elias, however, stepped forward calmly. "Stay back," he said, his eyes never leaving the predator. The shadow raptor lunged. Vryn's warriors attacked, but the creature was fast, unpredictable, and deadly. Elias, relying on his observations and timing, used the terrain to his advantage. He drew the creature's attention, luring it toward a fissure. With a carefully placed jump and push, the predator tumbled into a molten trap, immobilized. Vryn froze. The human had not only survived, he had outsmarted a deadly alien predator without any advanced alien weaponry. Her pride, long, unchallenged, was shaken. You are not afraid," she whispered, almost to herself. Elias turned to her. "Courage is not the absence of fear, it is acting despite it." The words hit her harder than any blade could have. For centuries, she had relied on fear to command respect. And here was a human, small and seemingly fragile, showing strength in ways she had never considered. The crowd of aliens murmured, impressed and confused. Some whispered that perhaps humans were not so weak after all. Vryn's own advisors looked at her, waiting for her command. But she found herself silent, studying Elias with a new intensity. "You have potential," she finally said, her voice low. "Not just as a warrior, but as a strategist." Elias inclined his head. "Humans survive by understanding, not just fighting. Every being has a strength. You just have to see it." Vryn's heart raced. No one had ever spoken to her like this. No one had ever survived her trials without fear or hesitation. And yet, here was a human, calm, confident, and unyielding. Her laughter, which had greeted him at first, had vanished, replaced by something new. Respect, curiosity, and a flicker of doubt about her own ego. For the first time, Vryn saw humans as more than a weaker species. She saw possibilities, adaptability, and strength that defied expectations, and she could not ignore it. As the trial concluded, Vryn and Elias left the labyrinth together. She did not speak much, but her silence was different now. It was contemplative, thoughtful. She was no longer the laughing alien woman who dismissed humans out of hand. She was beginning to understand that strength came in many forms, and that this human warrior embodied a form she had never considered. Elias glanced at her, sensing the shift. "You are thinking," he said quietly. Vryn looked at him, her eyes sharp and calculating. "I am thinking," she admitted, "and perhaps I have underestimated your kind." Elias smiled slightly. "Then perhaps it is time to see the rest of what humans can do." And with that, they moved forward, deeper into the alien territory, side by side. A silent understanding had formed between them. One built on respect, observation, and the quiet power of human determination. The egoistic alien woman had laughed at the human warrior once, but now she was beginning to see him in a way she had never imagined, and that realization would change the course of everything to come.